Straight from the Worlds to the Euros. Many of the same battles we saw last week have moved from the heart of Africa to the middle of Europe. But would they give us the same results? Hello and welcome to the Gruppetto. It was billed as a Pog versus Remco rematch, but with added Vingegaard racing for the first time since winning the Vuelta. A tough course in the south of France for the men's European Championship. 3 long laps and 3 shorter laps, all with plenty of elevation gain around the Drôme-Ardèche region. A strong and sizable breakaway group made Slovenia work hard in the first half of the race. The 14 riders up the road had formed on the back of an early Dutch-led attack. Their maximum advantage of just under 2.5 minutes formed on narrow and steep climbs, the same climbs that the Belgian team used to attempt to break up the chasing peloton. Remco Evenepoel's team's initial upping of the pace didn't manage to put Tadej Pogačar in too much bother. However, it did for Jonas Vingegaard's chances. The Dane dropped after just a couple of hours of racing, and his relationship with one-day racing remaining, at least for now, a strained one. Further up the 7-kilometre-long climb, Stef Kras of Belgium tried again and strung things out further, now seeing Pog running out of domestiques. The Belgians were on the way to isolating the world champ with over 100 kilometres to go. France then got in on the act, and it was time to get the popcorn out. But Evenepoel then countered. The Olympic champions' attacks were strong, with the likes of Paul Seixas and, of course, Pogačar able to respond. Another victim out the back at this point was Portuguese Grand Tour podium star João Almeida. With 90 kilometres to go and still one of the longer laps remaining, Evenepoel, Pogačar and co were at the front, having bridged to the break. A gap of 30 seconds, and it was growing. The man in the rainbow stripes was almost all alone, however. So, with teammate support waning, and with 76 kilometres still remaining, it was time for you-know-who to do you-know-what. A typically devastating Poggy burst of power. Spaniard Juan Ayuso assumed the early role of Icarus for the second week running. He got far too close to the sun and was burned off rather quickly. A kilometre later, and Evenepoel suffering just as he had been on Mount Kigali a week before. This time there was no mechanical problem, and there was, however, the quick arrival of Seixas before Ayuso and Scaroni made it a 4-man team pursuit behind. 30 seconds the gap. The question was, could they close it? There were flat sections of the route to work with, but several ascents of the Côte de Val d'Enfer, just under 2 kilometres of double-digit gradients, that not helping. The Valley of Hell coming in the shape of a hellish climb. 40 seconds then with 50 kilometres to go. The gap was growing as the other chasers weren't quite as strong or fully committed as the World TT champion. The next group on the road, led by a bigger French contingent, was at almost 3 minutes already. And when Pogačar's advantage had ballooned to almost 1.5 minutes, Remco went alone. The Belgian got the gap down to 1 minute with 27 Ks remaining. But then, at 1 lap to go, the bell ringing, it wasn't budging any further. It wouldn't change at all. A repeat of the race in Rwanda, first and second were well set before the finish. The fight for bronze played out on the final climb of the day. Seixas, only just having turned 19 last week, accelerated to drop Ayuso, and a couple of kilometres later, after a tougher fight, Scaroni was gone too. Up front, Tadej Pogačar celebrated yet another new title. Another achievement unlocked, now the tenant of both world and continental titles. The situation means that the blue bands and gold stars will be hidden behind the rainbow for the next year. Remco Evenepoel finished with another silver medal, and there was a joyous moment for a young man who could well be the next star in the galaxy. Paul Seixas, making French fans dream. So the Euros ticked off for Poggy. That means that in one-day road racing, save for any races he's taken a particular shine that we don't know of to, the prestigious and biggest races remaining for him are Sanremo, Roubaix and the Olympics. Once more, it isn't just the result, is it? It's the next level difference, the unstoppable nature of the performance, the inevitability of the win that stands out. Now, Pogačar may not get to Eddy Merckx's number of victories, but the umpteenth big show of the season means that he could well surpass the Cannibal's collection of exhibitions on the bike. We've asked you the question about Pog and the greatest of all time status several times this year. That's something that will continue as the exploits are amassed on an almost weekly basis. But what about what or who is next? Paul Seixas, for example. How good is he? What can he achieve? Now, we've seen talented displays in top-level stage racing already from him. Think back to the Dauphiné when he was still only 18 earlier this year. Let us know what you think he should target next season then, and what he can do in 2026. If you're watching on YouTube, post your thoughts and answers in the comments section below. And if you're watching this on the telly, then go to the TNT Sports Cycling YouTube channel on the internet. Click subscribe and leave your comments under the latest Gruppetto episode. So that takes care of the men's European Championship road race, but there was also a field of superstars contesting the women's elite race on Saturday. Here's Joe Rousel to tell us more.
It's quite a late position in the season for these European Championships. It's an attack by the Danish team. Just 3 riders strong, but a team that are clearly here to race aggressively. The Dutch look like they are doing a full leader on the left-hand side of the shot as we look at it at the moment. And it is the Dutch ripping things up on the front. Could this be the big move we've all been waiting for? Demi Vollering making a move here on this climb. Ashuni Viadoma tries to respond to the attack of Vollering. Vollering has gone clear. She came here, she wanted this European title, she wanted to be in that jersey for the next season. Her 11th pro victory of 2025, and it is a big one. It is the European road race title.
So, Demi Vollering's first victory since June, and a jersey that we will see in the peloton next year, following the rainbow jersey's trip back to Canada last week with Magdalene Valliere. Vollering needed that after missing out on her past couple of big objectives, although her consistency since winning the Tour of Catalonia in the summer has been remarkable. Only twice has she been outside of the top 10 on any race day since then. But finally, it's a win, and a big one at that. Now, earlier in the week, the women's continental time trial crown had been taken by Marlen Reusser, adding that to her rainbow jersey and national title. She's without doubt the best in the world in her preferred discipline right now. And also holding that title, and every single one of the others available to him, is Remco Evenepoel. Another Euros won, meaning that the Belgian holds Olympic, world, continental and national titles all at the same time. Elsewhere this week, Isaac del Toro's 14th win of the season came at the Giro D'Italia, beating Tom Pidcock, who was second for a second successive edition. After the usual laps of San Luca, it ended like this. Pidcock with del Toro sitting waiting. Del Toro's form since the Giro D'Italia has been nothing short of sensational. Since then, he's been right up there as probably the joint best rider in the world.
Yeah, he took a massive amount of confidence there, and he's carried that the whole way through his season. He's come across that gap, and I think it's put him a little bit on the limit. He's just sitting in the wheel of Pidcock now. He's going to buy his time. He's going to try and chance his arm in the sprint against Tom Pidcock here. He's checking over the shoulder just to see the situation behind, but I don't think now anyone else is going to come across from that group that is behind them.
There is Pidcock, 400 metres to go now. And they look, and there's open road. Nobody is coming across. It's Pidcock versus Del Toro, and only now does Stora make his move. This is Yates off the back. Roglic, a 4th win, looks unlikely now, just following this group in. 300 metres to the finish between Pidcock and Del Toro, as Yates' job for the day is done. He'll be hoping that his teammate from Mexico can finish things off. Again, they come around the corner. There is Martinez, and it's a big acceleration. And only now does the panic really set in front, because Del Toro moves. Pidcock fighting to get back on the wheel. It's Del Toro with an awfully long sprint to the line. Pidcock now looking like he can't keep it up, but he'll bury himself into this final effort. It is Del Toro, however, who will be able to sit up. And Isaac Del Toro will win the Giro dell'Emilia. The first of the Trittico Lombardo races, Coppa Agostoni, is always an attacking affair, with a tense run-in back to the plains after a day in the hills. Adam Yates and Carlos Canal were at the front, having made the difference, but the Spaniard, chasing his first pro win, suffered a flat tyre on the way back to Lissone, the start and finish town in the north of Italy. A comeback from that was an impossibility, with Yates riding off to a first victory since February and Canal taking second, but left waiting for that maiden taste of success. Paul Magnier won a hat-trick of consecutive stages for the second tour in a row. Having won 4 on the bounce in Slovakia the other week, the young French fast man continued his outstanding form in Croatia. A 9th win in 11 days of racing came before the big GC day at the Pro race. That was won by Brandon McNulty, the US rider in his best ever stage racing form, putting almost 2 minutes into second-placed Edoardo Zambanini to comfortably accept the overall lead. Magnier was back at it on stage 5 before Tadej Pogačar won a Croatia stage for the second year running, just as McNulty was able to defend his GC title and take back-to-back stage race wins. At the Tour of Langkawi, Joris Del Bovo won an overall for the first time as pro, while Alexander Kristoff closed out his career. It was an ending very much in his image, having to leave the race early through injury on the penultimate day after a crash. Gladiatorial and almost triumphant, having finished second on one of the stage. Kristoff's career ends with 98 wins, a day wearing the yellow jersey at the Tour, and he was a monuments man on a couple of occasions too. An inspiration for this new generation of Norwegian talent. That's all for this week's Gruppetto, but a reminder that we have one more monument to come. Yes, Saturday is the date for your diaries. It's the Giro di Lombardia, and it could be a very special one. Tadej Pogacar with yet another, yes, appointment with history. He's looking to equal Fausto Coppi's record of 5 victories, and if he wins this week, he will have done it 5 times in a row. A unique achievement. It's live and on demand on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. I'll be on the commentary and look forward to your company then. And I'll see you next week for the final regular Gruppetto episode of the season. Until then, it's goodbye.